You're listening to the Ecosystem Approach show. I'm Jason.
And I'm Patricia. Tune in every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time and 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Transformation Talk Radio.
We discovered that human potential is severely limited when you program humans like a machine, which is standard practice today for self-improvement.
The Ecosystem Approach teaches you how to uncover your infinite potential by using natural methods that are truly revolutionary. Join us now for the Ecosystem Approach show. We have had so many people ask us and even come to us with worry, anxiety about the state of the world. Today, we're going to talk about the big perspective and help you see your place with all the changes and what you can do for yourself in a positive way. We are married intuitives with over 20 years experience who created the Ecosystem Approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Okay, Jason, what is the big perspective today and how do you describe it?
So I Googled it.
Okay.
Well, first of all, people think that we have some sort of special code that we use our intuition. We go in there and we punch the code out and we get a printout that no one else sees.
Right.
That we have
right.
special access to information, and that's not true.
Okay.
However, I Googled it.
Okay.
And there was all these opinions. Either they were optimistic. Basically, I Googled what's happening in the world today. What's going on in the world today.
Okay.
And
what's going on with the state of the world today? I think that's
so there was optimism.
Okay.
And then there was pessimism.
Okay.
And those were just opinions.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't give you any real insight. And today's show is about some real insight. Yeah. And it's not about us. It's just we're going to help you see what's already out there, kind of in plain sight.
Okay.
So that you can have your perspective also.
Okay.
And the way you can see that, and this is probably the most exciting part of the show for me.
Okay.
Is that the only way that you can really get your head around this?
Okay.
Is by using an energy approach, looking at the energy of what's going on in the world, as opposed to positive and negative and what's going on here, or indicators. These are in all the positive indicators. These are all the negative indicators.
Okay.
You can make yourself crazy with that.
Yes, you can.
And the other part of that, so we look at it from the energy perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the tool that we use is astrology.
Mm-hmm.
And astrology gives you a whole language to talk about energy.
Yeah, it does.
When we talk about earth, water, air, and fire, it gives you an idea. It's a way of describing energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as opposed to, what's your sign? Or a pickup line in a bar, which I never used with Patricia. I could never use. It never would have worked.
I would have laughed at him in his face. But okay.
But this is a real serious use of astrology, and it's really important. So what's happening in the world today is basically the slow-moving energy of the age of Pisces.
Okay.
Which was like these astrology ages. Okay, we're going to talk about astrology ages.
Okay.
And they're about 2,500 years. We were in the age of Pisces. We're moving into the age of Aquarius.
Okay.
Astrologers don't agree about when they start and when they stop.
When the exact date is.
Yes. And frankly, that discussion bores me a little bit. It doesn't really matter.
Sure.
It's never that black and white. It's never that one size, blah, blah, blah. So we're moving from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. The transition from these ages explains everything.
Okay, how's that?
Okay, because when we look at what the positive and negative traits are of the age of Pisces, and we look at the positive and negative traits of the age of Aquarius, we can see all of it taking place in the world right now.
You can, yes.
And we know that ideally, mankind can learn from the previous age, the age of Pisces,
Sure.
bring that into the age of Aquarius, and use the positive traits of the age of Aquarius.
Okay.
Now, these energy ages are potential.
Okay.
They don't make things happen. Things aren't preordained. It's not like it's a destiny.
Okay.
But it just creates the circumstances so that these things can take place much more easily.
Okay.
So, for example, the age of Pisces, the positive part of the age of Pisces was connection to a higher ideal, a belief in something outside of yourself. That, in other words, you're not all there is. The world doesn't revolve around you. Let's think about something that's bigger than you. And it started around the time of the birth of Christ.
Okay.
So, and the church. So empathy, forgiveness, innocence, love, and devotion, all are supported in the age of Pisces. It sounds like a very positive thing. It is a very positive thing.
Well, it is a very positive thing. Yes, of course.
The negative in the age of Pisces are loss of sense of reality, addictions, escapism, being a fanatic and creating intolerance around your beliefs.
Okay.
Guilt and suffering reflecting one's spirituality. Those are huge things.
And people's souls have really lived those things in the age of Pisces.
Yes.
Okay.
So on the one hand, the idea of transcending your ego into having something outside of yourself that's greater than yourself, a belief in God, is very, very positive.
Okay.
And
but I see that it's been abused.
Well, and
greatly.
The negatives of the age of Pisces were the escapism and being fanatic and being dogmatic. So all of a sudden you have these beliefs about something greater than yourself, but then those beliefs turns into dogma and intolerance, that you have to do it this way, otherwise you're bad or you're sinful.
Exactly.
Or all those things, the fire and brimstone. In the age of Aquarius, it doesn't. It's like, oh, this doesn't make sense to me. This I can see through some of this.
Okay.
I see some of these religious leaders. For us. Age of Aquarius thing.
Wait a minute.
Persons, we can see their energy,
we can see their energy, and we can see the dogma that they use to demand, advocate. Yes. We see that often it's not in the best interest
of everyone.
Or
it doesn't support the best aspirations as opposed to least.
Exactly.
So the age of Aquarius.
Okay.
What's the positive traits?
Okay.
Discovery, innovation.
Okay.
Empowerment of the individual and empowerment of the collective. Both of those together is kind of a unique perspective.
It's amazing, actually.
Greater democracy, freedom of identity, acceptance of diversity, elimination of social or economic. Okay.
They can be, yes.
Rebellion, breaking the rules, skepticism, change above everything.
Yes.
So some of the examples of the age of Aquarius: the creation of the United States was a very Aquarian idea.
Okay.
The Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that everyone's created equal. All men are created equal. Well,
except, they forgot a few people in there.
There was some obvious hypocrisy in that, but the inspiration of it was very, very
true.
positive.
I'll agree with that.
The computer age, the internet, social media, smartphones. I remember when people didn't carry around a personal communication device.
No,
I mean, it's
not at all.
I know that makes
but the rules were you'd better be home by 5 o'clock, or you were.
Well, exactly, because you couldn't call.
Yes,
so anyways,
exactly.
This January 6th insurrection is very much an age of Aquarius because it's rebellion.
Please explain that one, because I don't think people are really going to understand it, because I have to say this, I personally struggle with the insurrection for the simple fact of I don't agree with it. Let me just say it that
Okay,
way.
so this is the low level part of Aquarian, change above everything. We didn't really understand what we're changing to, and it was based on misinformation, but it was rebellion. It's like the way it is can't happen anymore, and we have to change it. But no one's saying, well, we have to change it to this. We have a better ideal over here.
It was just
It just has
saying
to be changed.
it
We just
just
have to
has to
tear
be
it
changed.
down
And
and
tear it
change for
down is a
change.
key there. That is for
Exactly.
darn
Yes.
Skippy.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Oh, yes. Anyway. So, Jason, the bottom line is that um, I see that there's really good parts of the Piscean age and then the Aquarian age. I see that. And what I see using my intuition is that what's happening is that we're trying to figure out where it all belongs.
Yes.
And that's the hard part, everyone.
In terms of humanity is trying to figure out where it all belongs, where it should be.
But I also know that by using the ecosystem approach, what happens is that when you remove negative energy from yourself, that's the ecosystem approach. What happens is then you have better clarity, more clarity, and an awareness comes about in all of that. And that's what we're that's the way to do this. So with that said, Jason, what are the key points of this segment?
Most people can't see the big perspective and only offer opinions based on optimism or pessimism.
Okay.
It's not helpful.
Okay.
Seeing reality from an energy perspective is the only way to really have a perspective for yourself and for the world that is accurate or has some sort of validity.
Okay.
We are in the messy stages from moving from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius,
Correct.
which has no definite start point. And there's no definite endpoint of either the age of Pisces or the beginning of the age of Aquarius.
Okay.
And the ecosystem approach shows you how to uncover for yourself the greatest perspective for the world and for yourself.
I love that. In the next segment, we're going to talk about how the transition from one age to another and how it is not black and white and how change really happens. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about how the transition from one age to another can happen and how it's not black and white and how change really happens. We are married intuitives with over 20 years experience who created the ecosystem approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Jason, we know that both ages have positive and negative traits. How does this help us have a perspective for what's happening in the world?
You know, it's a fun question for me because yes, you can see it more easily in the world.
Yes.
You can see it with personally
within yourself.
Within yourself.
Yes.
Now, we have, we've been doing this for a long time.
Right.
And we have clients who have been with us for, 5, 10, 15, almost
Actually,
20 years.
Almost 20 years.
And the reason they're working with us is so that they can evolve also. They can evolve personally.
Yes.
And we see as they go about this process, and it's very exciting to see that they change in a nonlinear way. In other words, we think like machines,
yes,
that you just plug in the program and then you output the new behavior, and it doesn't work that way.
Exactly. Or it output the new behavior and you start slow and then get bigger and bigger and bigger. That isn't the way real change actually works.
So we can see it with the big stuff.
Yes.
When you change from one energy age, the age of Pisces, to another energy age, it's always messy.
Yeah.
It's never black and white.
Okay.
And you've always heard me talk about how excited I'm about the age of Aquarius. to that change from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. So if you're thinking black and white terms, you're not going to be able to understand what we're saying today.
Okay.
And so if you think about the positive things about the age of Aquarius and only the negative things of the age of Pisces, you won't get it.
Well, and not only that, but if you don't understand the negative and positive of each age, how are you going to be able to decide what you want to use and what you see and you don't want to do anymore, or you do and you don't want to do anymore, things like that.
So here's an example. Make America great again, and believing in an authority outside of yourself, which is very Piscean. Okay. The people who believe in the Donald Trump right now, I mean, they don't. It doesn't matter all the stuff that he does wrong. They don't care about the negative stuff. They just believe in him wholeheartedly, without question. He's my guy. I'm loyal to him to I'll follow him in the fire. Okay. That's very age of Piscean, and not in a good way. That's the negative.
Yes.
But also, what we're seeing today is using social media to spread misinformation. That's technology. That's the age of Aquarius.
Right.
The January 6th insurrection was rebellion. That's the age of Aquarius.
Okay.
They're both present in some of these movements that are happening at the same time.
But the age of Aquarius in all of that has been misused.
Yes, because if you look at the big picture, is we're learning in terms of mankind.
Okay. Yes.
We're learning how to assimilate the best of the age of Aquarius.
Sure.
For example, social media.
Okay.
The idea that you could, in the beginning, connect with all your friends and family.
Oh, that was a great thing. I remember that. Yeah.
Instead of saying, writing an individual letter to everybody and saying, "Oh, here's what's going on. It's Christmas time, so this is the time that they used to be before the internet. People would send out Christmas cards with a little update of what's going on in life and pictures and all that stuff.
Still to this day, his mother actually sits down and writes Christmas cards individually to her friends that are still alive.
And the social media is actually so much easier for that. And the idea that classes can connect with a classroom across the globe.
Exactly.
And share experiences and
exactly.
become friends is amazing.
Yes.
Of course, we've seen that social media has also been used to radicalize and spread misinformation. You can't tell which way is up,
right. And what do you believe?
The biggest.
What do you know?
The biggest fake out is, I saw it on the internet. Oh yeah, well.
Yes.
Everybody knows you can't believe what
everything you read.
You would think, but they not necessarily. So
exactly.
So those are the negative traits of the age of Aquarius.
Okay.
So here's the biggest that I see.
Okay.
The biggest negative of the age of Aquarius that's coming forward now is programming. And of course, if you've been listening for a while, you know that's my little soapbox. I talk about programming all the time. And the truth is that programming, treating yourself like a machine, is very Aquarian-like, because it's new, it's technological, it's innovative, and
so you're saying on one hand,
well, I think that was the beginning. I think, in the industrial age, just the idea of an assembly line,
understanding it and how it works. Oh my gosh, absolutely.
I mean, we could output
people.
Cars.
They left the farm.
Yes.
The staple of life to go work in the factories.
Exactly, and that was that was part of the age of Aquarius. That innovation of using the assembly line.
Okay.
Here's something that if you get our newsletter, and by the way, if you don't, you should go right now to theecosystemapproach.org and sign up for our newsletter, because at the bottom, I have this, and I don't know if you've seen it. If you
take note, everyone.
Take note. It says, we teach machines to be more like people and people to be more like machines, but we never we never teach humans to be more human, because that's where you have infinite potential.
Nice.
And I'm ascribing that to myself. That's part of the age of Aquarius and the ecosystem approach. But that's what we're all about, is that we're right now, I see everything, even spiritual practice is a form of programming.
Yes.
So what is programming? But when you make yourself do something, when you reward yourself, if you do this, if you try and develop good habits, if you trick yourself into doing something or feel that this is the way. In other words, if you have to feel this way to be successful. Well, that's unnatural. And I'm raising my hand. We're raising our hands with the ecosystem approach and saying, hey, that's not how it works. No. And that's very Aquarian in a way, because we're saying, hey, let's make human beings more human and leave the machining to the machines. Because
I like that.
Machines you program. Absolutely. Yes, that's what you should do, you know.
And exactly, they should be. Exactly.
So what is the ecosystem approach about? It's about observing how you feel, clearing the negative feelings, clearing the intensive feelings that you have. And that it can take a while, take years, for example. But at a certain point, you'll start to understand those feelings are messages from your essence.
That you're talking to you and that you matter.
At the same time, I'm always saying to lots of people, I was saying it yesterday with my clients, your feelings don't always tell you the truth.
Yeah, well, wait.
and so intuition is about crafting that, understanding that
message. And understanding it. But one of the best things that the thing that came to mind when you were talking about it, I have not had one client that hasn't asked me this. And they always say, what happens if I do this clearing stuff and I do all this and I don't like me?
Yes. As you uncovered yourself.
You uncover yourself. And the bottom line is there's number one, I've never talked to anyone who didn't like them or aspects of them. And whatever you don't like about you, you can clear it.
Absolutely.
It's phenomenal.
Absolutely.
And it's awesome.
So here's the bottom line.
Okay.
Programming is used by ego, which is not necessarily the best for you, to push yourself to do. Ecosystem approach, it's about listening. And it's not about listening. It is about listening to each other, but it's about listening to yourself.
Right.
And it's about this idea that there's something inside of you, your essence, that is more intelligent, has more wisdom about what's best for you than any expert out there or studies show or, any of that.
And I'm going to use an emotional way of saying that. One of the things that you figure out is that you do matter. All the programming that says you're not worth anything.
Well, what happens when you program yourself and you don't do it? Then the only thing left is shame
and the negative energy.
I'm a bad machine.
I'm a bad machine.
You're not a machine. Yes.
And the bottom line is that when you start using the ecosystem approach, you actually realize authentically, not programmed, but you realize authentically you do matter, and what you think matters. And if somebody doesn't like or you don't like what you think, believe it or not, you can change it. It's awesome.
When you're not programmed, you have options to sculpt your personality in a way that is in alignment with your essence.
Exactly.
Here's the most important part.
Okay.
The ecosystem approach is only hard because you're unlearning the programming that you've been learning all your life.
And we're definitely gonna talk more about that. But let's do the key points of this segment. And
both energy ages, Pisces and Aquarius, have both positive and negative traits. But these energy ages don't force behavior.
Right.
They create a condition for these behavior.
Okay.
Humans must learn by evolving to pick and choose which traits to act upon. And programming is the most destructive trait of the age of Aquarius and limits humans' ability to use their potential. And the ecosystem approach teaches you or shows you how to evolve and be conscious of your emotional choices and behaviors.
I love it. In the next segment, we're going to talk about how to change, how change can happen for you personally, and how you can help change the world. The changes of a sorry.
So let me help you.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I stumbled all over.
We're going to talk about how in the next segment, we're going to talk about how change can happen for you personally.
Right.
How the world changes in the age of Aquarius.
There you go.
And those changes are similar to things that are happening for you if you're using the ecosystem approach.
Exactly. So this is the ecosystem approach with Jason and Patricia. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about how change can happen for you personally and how the world changes in the age of Aquarius. It is similar to the change you'll make when you use the ecosystem approach. We are married intuitives with over 20 years experience who created the ecosystem approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Now, Jason, I stumbled over it again, but how do changes happen in the world right now? We'll start with that one.
Well, okay, so we know that it's messy. We know that it goes back and forth. It's not just one thing or the other. It's not black and white. It's not like going from this to this.
Okay.
It goes forward, then it goes back, then it goes forward, then it goes back. And
can be confusing.
It could be confusing.
Okay.
And the reason we're bringing that up is because that's how people change. And here's what's so exciting to us about the ecosystem approach. We mentioned that we have clients that we've had for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
And we see them, they're doing real change.
Yes.
Now, what we see in the world is not real change. As people get older, they don't change. They just learn to cope. And people don't understand the difference.
Yes.
When you cope with something negative in your life. Maybe it's a bad relationship. Maybe it's a bad marriage. Maybe it's, maybe you throw yourself into work because you don't want to go home.
We see that a lot.
It can be illness and disease. And those can be things, people work around those negative energies. They don't ever resolve them. But when you start to resolve and start to make real changes
and change the energy,
you go forward.
Yes.
And then you go back.
And when you go back, that's when you start doing things like, oh, wait, I used to be here. I don't want to be here.
We've had so many people come to us and say, oh, this isn't working. And because they went forward and then they went back. Yes. And what they're doing is when they say, oh, this isn't working, it's, first of all, it's very emotional.
Yes, it is.
It's always very emotional saying, because they're thinking like a machine. Yes. When you put a program in a machine, it's supposed to change.
It's supposed to change. That's all. You're supposed to go forward, so to speak. Yes.
We expect our programs to act the same way all the time.
We do.
But people don't work that way. And so as we're simulating new behaviors, we do it over here in this venue. We might do it over here in this venue, and then we screw it up in this venue. It's inevitable.
Yes.
And then we'll go back, then go back around and do it all over again.
True.
And people have these expectations that once you change, that's it. Then it's done.
Well, and
if it's real change, but that's not real change. That's programming.
Yes.
And it only lasts for as long as you can force yourself to do it.
Right.
And inevitably you break down because you don't have the energy to keep forcing yourself to do it that way.
Correct. That's true. So okay. So I like how you can all of us when we use the ecosystem approach, Jason, can we give ourselves a break, so to speak, and stop beating ourselves up for what we didn't or didn't do?
Well, the problem is that you're framing it as a programming question.
Yes, I am on purpose. Yes.
If you say, I'm going to give myself a break, I'm going to take care of me, those are all programming things.
Yes, they are.
The truth is, if you remove the negative energies,
yes,
you won't have to take care of you because you already will.
You already are.
Your essence will automatically always take care of you.
Yes.
You don't have to force it. And if you have to do something to take care of you, you're programming yourself in a way that
Yes.
you have to compensate for that programming in a different way, and it becomes really convoluted.
Exactly.
Let me give you an example.
Okay.
Okay. Um, we use a tool called the Enneagram that helps you understand the negative energy attached to your essence.
Right.
That negative energy attached to your essence keeps you from being who you are authentically, doing the ecosystem approach. It's negative energy, and we teach you how to clear it. And every time at the end of every segment, every show, we do clearings at the end, and that's why, because it helps remove the energy. But let's give you an example of how change can really happen for different Enneagram types.
Okay.
For example, for a 2 to say "I want" is really, really hard. To say, "This is what I want." What they say is, "Wouldn't it be nice?" Or they say, "You should want this because of this, this, and this."
Well, because 2s are some of the most manipulative, and you wouldn't, when you look at a 2, the average person wouldn't think that they're being manipulated. They just think, oh, that person is so nice. But I guarantee you, a 2 is the most manipulative of all of the Enneagram types.
So when a 2 is able to, and we have some 2s that we work with, are able to say, "This is what I want."
Yes.
Just put it out there.
Yes.
It's amazing. That's change.
That's real change.
What happens is people around the 2 usually cope with them.
Yes, they do.
And
yes, of course.
They're manipulating their way through life. Wouldn't it be nice to go to this movie? Wouldn't it be nice if we did this?
Yes.
Instead of saying, "I want to do this." It's just not, it's just so much cleaner. It's really hard for a 2.
Okay. So
a 6, they struggle with self-promotion.
Right.
They struggle with just saying, "Hey, I'm going to put myself out there," because 6s typically have so much shame. They struggle to say, "Hey, I can do this," or, "Hey, look at what I've done."
Yes.
They would rather just have other people see what they've done, which is their own shame that keeps them from saying, "Oh, look at me."
That is correct.
So when a 6 can go, "Hey, look at me," that shows real change.
Exactly.
Let me give another example. A 4 who can see something objectively. 4 is when you talk to them, they respond emotionally.
Always.
And I see that with my wife. Is that actually that's not an insult? It's a compliment. In the beginning, there were certain things that I couldn't say to you because it would be the response would be so emotional.
Correct.
It
would create too much havoc.
There'd be no communication.
Correct.
And now we, I say some pretty bold things, and she puts up with it, but it's her objectivity, and that is profound, real change. You don't see that. And unfortunately, because we don't see ourselves as Enneagram types.
No, we don't.
A lot of those changes are really invisible. For example, an 8 can say, "This is what I want," all day long.
Yes.
And with no problem. And they're telling people, "I want this and I want this."
But an 8 doesn't say, "This is how I feel."
Yes. They don't say that. Or "I was wrong."
Or "I was wrong."
But for a 2 to say, "This is what I want," it's amazing.
Yes.
So anyways, we created the ecosystem approach because all these other programs in spirituality had these major gaps.
Yes.
So what we do, and I want to just share that with you really quickly, is what's so special about the ecosystem approach is we see the problem. We see the problem. So if all these other programs, if they don't see the problem completely, they can't fix it, which is the buildup of negative energy in your essence.
Yes.
We use a tool, the Enneagram, to see your where your improvement can come and how it can come. You can see your improvement through your changes in your personality if you understand your Enneagram type. And we identified your emotional story, because that's the bullseye to make true change, is to go in there, uncover your emotional story, and clear it constantly and consistently.
Exactly.
And then
there's one more part.
We use astrology to see who you are authentically. Astrology is a tool.
Exactly.
To see who you are authentically.
Exactly. So, Jason, what are the key points of this segment?
Real change happens with energy, but it's messy and non-linear.
Right.
And there's always a back and forth.
Correct.
World changes requires a critical mass of people who have evolved consciousness, and it has to start with you. It doesn't happen automatically.
Right.
you have to make the choice to start evolving for yourself. And it doesn't happen with programming. It has to do with energy.
Okay.
Big changes in energy are often invisible, and there is real resistance to changing behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And the ecosystem approach was developed to create a real change through evolved consciousness coming from essence.
I love it. So, Jason, let's teach for those who are listening for the first time, or just a reminder, let's teach how to do the clearing. That's the ecosystem approach. And then we'll, in the next segment, we're going to do some clearing. So stay with us.
Here we go. So you can stand, sit, walk, run, lay down.
Yes, you can.
And it doesn't matter what your posture is. You don't have to be reverent. This isn't like a spiritual thing. It's an energy. You're doing energy work.
Exactly.
So and so when we say and to eliminate, whether it's veils and illusions, barriers, specific emotions, just think of those specific emotions, veils and illusions, gather them up and throw them or blow them into the processor.
Okay.
Jacob's putting that up on the screen right now. And it's the processor. That energy goes in the top. It's processed. It comes out the front, neutral. And it's
really important.
We empty it. Don't worry about it.
Yes, exactly.
We'll maintain it. And you just blow it into the processor.
And then there's one more thing. After that, we're going to activate life force energy. Life force energy is the most powerful energy that any of us has access to. And what we're going to do is we're going to call upon it. We're going to ask it to come in through the top of our head. And when we do that, I've never said this before, we're going to ask that energy to help us do some of these changes, make some of these energetic changes. In other words, it's a form of a support system. So, and then we'll move right along. So stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to do clearings to help you personally change and do clearings so you can evolve to maximize your potential. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to do some clearings to help you with your personal change and clearing, and so you can evolve to maximize your potential. You ready, Jason?
Here we go.
Let's get started.
I direct all my resources in all dimensions to eliminate the barriers so I can feel the subtle nudge that I should be using an energy approach to life.
Excellent. Take a breath. We're going to shorten it down a little bit. It's not that much. So, and to eliminate the barrier so I can see that working with energy makes me smarter and more insightful. Take a nice breath.
You know, it sounds arrogant, but the truth is, if you don't think in energy terms, there's so much detail that you miss. That's so much going on in the world,
yes,
and in yourself that you just miss. Because programming, it makes you just think about the surface.
It kind of dumbs you down.
It dumbs you down. So, and to eliminate the veils and illusions, so I can see that programming dumbs me down.
Oh, good
Take
one.
A breath.
And to eliminate any intense feelings of worry, anxiety, frenzy that blocks my energy abilities. Take a breath.
And to eliminate any feelings of fear, hurt, and shame that I have that keeps me from seeing the world objectively and the changes that are going on.
Take a breath. And to eliminate the barriers so I can know that my evolution comes from an energy process of uncovering my own abilities. Take a breath. And by the way, in the clearing, that was one of the things that just blew me away the most when I started seeing that my evolution was happening because I was clearing things away.
Yes.
Oh, it blew me away. I loved it.
The most important thing that you saw was your own abilities and confidence to go out in the world
and do them.
Yes.
And it's been amazing. It's truly been amazing.
So, and to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see the Age of Aquarius traits playing out in the world today.
Take a breath.
Take a breath.
And to eliminate any feelings of fear and terror that The world is imploding and I'm not safe. Nice and easy. Just take a breath. That's really not the truth.
And to eliminate the barriers so I can see that I need evolved consciousness today by taking an energy approach to my life.
Yes, take a breath.
You don't get evolution from programming.
No,
you can't force yourself to be evolved.
No, not at all. And to eliminate any intense anger I have that makes me susceptible to misinformation. This is huge. And negative energies. Take a breath, everyone.
And to eliminate any resistance I have to clearing constantly, consistently, and specifically for my personal growth and evolution.
Yes.
Take a breath.
And by the way, if you don't know what to clear, start with clearing numb, confusion, and fear. Those will get you started every single time. And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see the big perspective and then do what's in my best interest. Take a breath.
And to eliminate the barriers so I can clear my way to a better life for me and my family right now.
I love that. And to eliminate any numbness or blocks I have to taking an energy approach to life. Starting this very minute, take a breath.
And to eliminate the barriers so I can see the possibilities for me personally for unlimited potential using energy.
I love
Remember, you're not a machine.
Yeah.
You try and program yourself, you're gonna top off your unlimited potential.
Exactly. And remember, machines, they have only so much potential.
Yes.
So, but we're human. So take a breath, everybody. And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can have a vision for myself in the age of Aquarius that is attractive to me. Wow. Take a breath. And to eliminate any confusion that's in my way about what is attractive to me. Take a breath. You ready to activate life force?
Yes.
Here we go. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to activate life force energy so I can use life force energy for all that I need, want, desire, and deserve now and in the future so that I can be the best that I can be in the age of Aquarius. Take a breath. Pull it in. Let that just come right in and go right down to the tips of your toes. Now, throw out any negative energy that you don't need. Not that you need any, but yes.
And to activate life force so I can trust and understand that my energy approach allows me to see my life with real objectivity.
Take a breath. Right in there. And to activate life force so I can have hope for a better future with an energy approach to my life in the age of Aquarius. Nice and easy. Top of your head. Easy. Let that go through your body.
And to activate life force so I can decide to clear my life and allow it to unfold versus programming it or forcing it unnaturally.
Love it. And to activate life force so I can be happy and healthy and have laughter and love and be creative and have fun and have the ability to see and know that an energy approach to my life today is the best place to start because I'm worth it. Take a breath. Nice and easy. Jason, what are we going to talk about next week?
Next week is big. It really is big.
I thought today was kind of big myself.
I thought today was kind of big, but I've been holding back on this. And this is really about health reimagined.
Oh.
And we've been doing this for 20 years. We've had personal experience in traditional medicine, and we have a lot of personal experience with alternative medicine.
Yes.
The way to true healing, we're gonna turn that upside down for you next week. You got to hear this
I
show.
love that.
This is we're gonna deal with some concepts that are pretty revolutionary, and it's
Okay.
going to redefine what health is. And
Oh,
I'm taking aim for the first time, and it's not in a negative way or a
okay.
critical way, but to
Okay.
say, hey, traditional medicine, alternative medicine, there's something missing. And
Mm.
this is such an Age of Aquarius thing to do right now, because
Yes.
I'm saying to everybody, it's now the Age of Aquarius. It's time for us to step it up.
Yes.
We're going to have to be healthier, and this is how you do it.
Yes.
And you have to hear this show. It'll change you. It'll get you thinking for days.
Okay. Okay.
So, and if this appeals to you,
Okay.
if what we're talking about today, this energy approach to life, if that just gives you like a little nudge and you say, oh my gosh,
Or a big one.
a big one, I should be doing this. We've made it so easy for you.
We have.
All you have to do is go to our website, theecosystemapproach.org, and sign up for our free section. Now, in our free section, you can you'll get our weekly newsletter, which has the clearings, a little bit story from me.
Right.
You'll get access to lots and lots of content on our website. And oh, by the way, the picture of the processor, you can download that in the free section.
Yes.
And cut it out, print it out, and put it right in front of you.
Exactly.
And it has all the words written out, so you can just do your clearings.
Exactly.
And we've had people take it and use it for their morning coffee. They really
Exactly.
like it.
Exactly. One of my oldest clients, he was very young when he started with me. He took and pinned it on his wall, and he said that it's one of the first things that he sees every morning, and he does clearings every morning with it.
It's amazing. It's time for you to have an energy approach to life, and we've made it so simple.
Yes.
Go to our Facebook page, theecosystemapproach.org. Like us, please. We appreciate those likes.
Right.
But we all have a lot of our videos are there, so they're recorded. You can watch them there.
Right. And you don't exactly have to watch them. You can also just listen to them.
Yes. You can watch or listen, whichever you like.
Exactly.
On our website, there is a radio show and or an audio podcast.
Exactly.
And on Facebook, it's the
video.
Yeah.
Yes, which is great. And join us. Next week, join us and ask one of your friends to join you as well. And because, by the way, clearing with a partner is one of the best things that you can do. There's great success with that.
Not only does it help you and it helps support you, but it's the best thing you can do for the world right now is clear negative energy for you personally.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be for the world in general. Do it for you.
Exactly. So with that said, we'll connect next week, Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Eastern Time. This is Transformation Talk Radio, and you're listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia.
Remember, your ecosystem is the most important one in the world.
Thank you for listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. I'm Patricia. Tune in every week as we discuss practical ways to apply the ecosystem approach and develop your potential to live your life on your terms. For more information, visit our website at theecosystemapproach.org.